You know that feeling when you check your bank account, and instead of immediately closing the app in horror, you actually smile? Like when you stop calculating whether you can afford that coffee, or if buying groceries means eating instant ramen for the rest of the month. There is a specific threshold where this shift happens, and it's much smaller than the million-dollar figures financial gurus preach. Most experts tell you that you need 6 figures or a massive portfolio to feel secure. But they are missing a crucial behavioral milestone that completely transforms your relationship with money. Once you cross it, the mechanics of how you live, think, and work completely change. That number is $20,000. When you have no savings, your brain operates in pure survival mode. Every financial decision is filtered through fear and scarcity. You take the first job offer that comes along, even if the environment is toxic, because you can't afford to be selective. You stay in situations you dislike because leaving feels too dangerous. When you are trapped in survival mode, your mental bandwidth is entirely consumed by immediate threats. You literally cannot plan a future while your daily environment feels like it's on fire. Crossing the $20,000 threshold acts like an invisible barrier. Before this point, building wealth feels like pushing a massive stone boulder up a steep cliff. You strain, sweat, and make almost no visible progress, wondering if it's even possible. But once you accumulate that initial buffer, the boulder reaches the peak, and gravity starts working in your favor. The shift isn't just mathematical, it's neurological. Research shows that having even a small emergency cushion dramatically reduces cortisol levels and boosts personal well-being. But expanding that buffer to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses creates breathing room. It shifts your brain out of wealth preservation and into wealth creation. Consider the math behind this momentum. If you save $1,000 every month at an 8% return, reaching your first $20,000 takes roughly 19 months. That is a year and a half of discipline and delayed gratification. But reaching your second $20,000 doesn't take another 19 months, it takes around 17. The effort you put in remains identical, but 2 full months are shaved off because your existing money is now working alongside you. By the time a portfolio grows to $400,000, generating another $20,000 happens automatically in just 5 months through market returns. What initially took nearly 2 years of painful sacrifice eventually happens passively. The first milestone feels nearly impossible, but every step afterward becomes progressively easier. Up until $20,000, investment returns feel trivial. A 10% return on $2,000 is $200, nice, but hardly life-changing. But a 10% return on $20,000 is $2,000. Suddenly, you are generating capital that meaningfully impacts your trajectory without lifting a finger. The real secret isn't access to high-end, exclusive investments. It is basic mathematical scale applied to everyday index funds. Scale is what transforms tiny percentage wins into real financial momentum. Yet the accumulated cash is actually less valuable than what you built to get it, the identity shift. Saving $20,000 from scratch requires tracking dollars, delaying gratification, and saying no to short-term impulses consistently over time. You prove to yourself that you control your money, rather than letting it control you. Once this identity takes root, daily micro-expenses stop causing mental exhaustion. You no longer waste precious cognitive energy agonizing over small purchases because you know your broader financial foundation is secure. You stop sweating the minor details and start focusing on the decisions that actually move the needle: career trajectory, fixed housing costs, and long-term investment strategies. This buffer also changes how you view unexpected disruptions. Living paycheck to paycheck turns a broken laptop or car repair into an absolute crisis. But with $20,000 banked, those same disasters regress into minor annoyances. Furthermore, you begin recognizing opportunities that were previously invisible. You have the freedom to take a calculated career risk, invest in a promising project, or pay upfront for professional training that increases your earning potential. Having money gives you options, and options generate more opportunities to build wealth. This dynamic fundamentally alters your relationship with your career. When you depend entirely on next Friday's paycheck to keep the lights on, you negotiate from a position of absolute weakness. You accept unreasonable demands and tolerate poor management because walking away feels catastrophic. $20,000 provides walking away money. You don't have to quit your job recklessly, but knowing you can survive for months without it changes your posture. You speak up with confidence, ask for the compensation you deserve, and push back on unrealistic workloads. People notice when someone operates without desperation, often resulting in better assignments, higher respect, and faster promotions. The biggest mistake people make at this stage is treating that $20,000 as a reward rather than a foundation. They hit the milestone and immediately liquidate it for a new vehicle down payment or an expensive vacation. But a car loses value the moment it leaves the lot, actively destroying wealth, whereas invested capital multiplies over time. When you filter major purchases through opportunity cost, choices become simple. A $30,000 luxury car isn't just $30,000, it's the potential $200,000 that capital could have become if allowed to compound over 20 years. Driving a modest, reliable vehicle stops feeling like a sacrifice and starts feeling like a conscious strategy to buy back your future freedom. $20,000 won't make you wealthy overnight. But it will fundamentally rewire how you perceive risk, work, and opportunity. It is the dividing line between reacting to life and intentionally designing it.